Hello, this is AC, continuing on our journey of self-love, self-peace, and creating a positive environment for yourself and the people around you. I thank you for joining me. Today, one of the things that I stated in my first video was the fact that I wanted to try to stay away from politics. Unfortunately, in today's time, all of the things that are going on and the things that have been ignited, it's probably going to be a little difficult for me, because one of the things that I said is I want to be myself. I'm going to try to keep things as neutral as humanly possible. But after the couple of events that occurred this past weekend, I feel the need to use this platform to share my thoughts about the situation. The gentleman who was murdered and had his neck held down by the police officer as he lay there with his hands cuffed, saying that he couldn't breathe over and over again. The woman who decided to call 911 on a gentleman in Central Park because she acted and told the 911 callers that she felt that her life was being threatened, but the actuality of it was the gentleman was essentially being threatened. First, I'll start with the lady. This is a Caucasian female, and it was a black gentleman who was a bird watcher. And based upon the videotape that we all see, I'm really confused that you would even bother to communicate that you're not racist. What you did was just what you said it best. You said it was inappropriate. It goes above and beyond that. That is above and beyond inappropriate. I'm trying to keep my videos clean. There are so many different words that I want to communicate to you. But in all honesty, I feel that one of the reasons why you wanted to put an apology out was because you lost your job, or you felt that your job was going to be threatened. Well, as fate would have it, you created the environment for yourself. There was absolutely no reason in the world that you should have treated that African-American black man the way you did. There was absolutely no reason. Zero reason. You had a choice. You did have a choice. And now you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your choice. I'll move on. Let's try to keep our blood pressure down. The police officer holding the gentleman's, Mr. Floyd's, neck down. First of all, I want to say that I've had many experiences with police officers. I actually studied criminal justice years ago. And I know from experience there are absolutely wonderful, hard-working police officers who truly do stand by the term or concept, protect and serve. That there are many out there. And what happened to Mr. Floyd makes their job so difficult. It makes their jobs so absolutely difficult. Because in essence, what ends up happening is we create a society of people who do not trust law enforcement. And in some instances, some of these acts are of a racial nature. There is no doubt in my mind that they are. But in many other instances, you have people in positions that basically should not be in those positions. You have people in positions that have run amok and feel that they're above the law and they can do anything that they want to do. I will give you an example of that. About 6 years ago, I was driving to the coast and was pulled over. I was pulled over and told that I made some type of illegal move as I moved around an 18-wheeler that was in front of me. The person that was in charge was a black man. He was not a white man. He was a black man. I spent about 15 to 20 minutes, no, it was longer than that, it had been at least 30 minutes, basically being harassed about where I was going, what I was doing. I was in a rental car. And the answers that I was giving wasn't good enough. The very interesting thing about this situation is the fact that the white officers actually, I could look at the expressions on their faces and their body language was to the point of, why do you not let this man go? And it got so bad that I was out in an extremely rural area and parked at the end of someone's driveway. And the people, again, they were white, gentlemen, wonderful gentlemen, came down the road in his van. He didn't look at anybody else. He looked at me. He looked at me in the eye and said, "Are you okay?" And he said it several times. And it made me feel so good. It made me feel so good because, one, as I said, the one thing I know is God looks out for me. God truly does, and He has. And I thank the Lord for all He has done for me, my family, and friends. I thank the Lord for looking out for us. But essentially, the guy in the van actually sat there and watched them for a while, and one of the guys ended up doing it says that I'm gonna write you a warning for making an inappropriate lane change to have an excuse to give me something. But when the gentleman who was in the van, who we were parked at the end of his driveway, felt comfortable, he looked at me and he asked, he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, I'm fine. I'm fine. And he turned around and he went back up his driveway. He drove back to his house. And I left, and I realized at that moment I felt violated. I felt what so many other black men have felt when I haven't broken a law. I've never broken a law. I've never been arrested. I've never, I've never been in trouble. And it was humiliating. It was so many different things. But the very interesting thing again was it was perpetuated by another African American. It wasn't perpetuated by a Caucasian person. And people may not like me saying this. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn. The reality of it is that we have a problem in this country with people in positions that think that they can do whatever they want to do. And it's perfectly fine. Hence, the absolutely horrible thing that happened to Mr. Floyd. And it looked to me as if, whether it was racially motivated, that I don't know. The bottom line is, you have a human being that's being treated less than I'm pretty sure any of these police officers who were involved in that situation would actually have treated an animal. And it was absolutely horrible to actually sit there. And the question that I have for those officers who did what they did was, how would you feel if that was your dad that some other police officer had handcuffed with his hands behind his back, pressing his neck against the asphalt? How would you feel if that was your mother? How would you feel if that was your brother, your sister? How would you feel if it was your wife or your child? But you did it. And you did it, as far as I'm concerned, with no conscience, because even the people who were standing around observing the situation had the ability to say, look, even if you're saving face with the other police officers, to say, come on, let's put him in the car, because he wasn't resisting. The man plain and simply said that he couldn't breathe. And you continued to do what you did. And there was no reason, and the only thing that video shows is you killing someone. It's not showing anything else. That video plain and simply shows a police officer holding his knee against a civilian's neck and pressing it against the road and suffocating him to death. And again, I say, it's unimaginable. I can't imagine what that poor man must have felt. There was nothing that he could have done that would have been deserving of that. Obviously, someone mentioned a crime that he possibly had committed, and the fact that he might have possibly, I don't want to say, I don't want to say anything and make any assumptions, because anything that I read may not have been correct. The bottom line is, I saw the video. I saw the video. And I had enough sense after studying criminal justice to understand and know that, looking at his body language, he was in, he had surrendered. So I'm just at odds as to why this officer felt the need to suffocate this gentleman. But in my mind, I think it has a lot to do with the same officers that felt, the same black officer who felt the need to harass me on the side of the road, because he could. Simply because he could. And he felt that he could get away with it. To anyone who's actually viewing this video, I think it is so important. This next election is so absolutely important. It is so important that people get out and vote. It really is. It really is. Because changes have taken place over the last 4 years that I'm pretty sure so many people could have not possibly have imagined in a million years. And I'll leave my politicking there. I have to collect myself for a second, because it's just between the woman who called the cops on a gentleman because he suggested that she lease her, put a leash on her dog, and watching this poor man being killed by people who are supposed to protect and serve the community. And that's certainly not what happened in that situation. And again, I repeat, those types of acts make it extremely difficult for the wonderful police officers out there in the world that are simply trying to do their job. That are simply trying to do their job, and they want to get home to their families. They want to get home to their families in one piece. They're trying to do good for our society, for our communities, and they just want to get home safely. And it's police officers like you who absolutely keep that from happening. All right. Well, I'm trying to think of a way. I just don't know. Between dealing with my last video and now this, it does sometimes get to be a bit much. But again, one of the things that I would suggest for change, because it is desperately needed, with all of the things that have gone on over the last 4 years, people need to get off of their behinds and vote. They need to vote. They need to vote. They need to vote. They need to vote. Your vote counts. Please do so. And if you don't wonder why, or you question why, turn the TV on. Take a look at the news. If you want to protect your life, your family, and to ensure your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren have the ability to live their lives in peace and without discord or animosity and anger and hatred, my suggestion is you get off your behind and vote. Vote. And my prayers go out to Mr. Floyd and his family, because that's a tragedy that just simply didn't need to occur, and it's like so many others that have occurred over the last so many years. And to the lady who decided to call 911 on the black gentleman who was bird watching and requested that she put a leash on her animal, and she decided to call 911 and say that her life is being threatened by an African American. Well, reality of it is that your actions speak for themselves. There is nothing that you can say to deny differently. And reality of it is, he didn't deserve it. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. goal is to try to create a positive environment, encouraging environment, a level of encouragement for anybody who's interested in watching my videos. And obviously, when you deal with things of this nature, it makes us feel a lot of different ways. It makes us feel sad. It makes us feel, in some instances, powerless. But that's where I come back to the need for everybody to get out and vote, because your vote counts. And do what you can to fight injustice, no matter what the injustice is, if you have the ability to do so. But an excellent start is casting your vote at every election. It's something that you have the ability to do, and it's something you should make sure that you do. With that being said, to everyone who's watching, love yourself and allow that love light that you have within you to shine on the people around you. Because believe me, in today's time, we seriously need it. Have a blessed day. Oh,